here. So thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Well,
So,
wonderful.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I would love if you could just introduce yourself a little bit and kind of what you're going to be talking to us about today.
Yeah. So again, my name is Jeff Glover. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I've been in the business now for 18 years. Believe it or not. In Michigan, you can get licensed when you're 9, so that's how that works. And I'm still on the ground with you. I'm still in production. I sell between 80 and 100 homes per year myself personally, and operate a team that does between 900 and 1,000 homes per year annually. And we've been at Keller Williams since 2009, and just moving and shaking, I guess. You know, I think one of the most exciting parts of me doing these is I'm sharing things that we're doing now. You know, in fact, today's notes are going to be these are the exact same notes I shared with our team last week of things that I wanted them to implement for the third quarter of this year. So much, if not all of what I'm sharing with you is very relevant to what's going on right now, and you know, how things are impacting your business right now. So if you would, why don't you either turn to a clean sheet of paper, open up a document or something so you can follow along, take notes. I've got 12 things I'm going to share with you to implement for the third quarter. Now, my hope is you take 1 or 2 of these and do great with them. If you want to do all 12, you can. It probably won't happen right away. You're probably going to need to maybe spread it out over the 3 months in the third quarter. But these are all things that I've shared with our team and asked them to focus on and implement in the third quarter of this year. So I'll go ahead and jump in. First point I wrote down is I want you to revise your social media plan for the third quarter. I want you to revise your social media plan for the third quarter, and I want your focus to be on promoting your success with buyers. I want you to promote the success that you're having with buyers. Now, you might say, well, I'm not having a lot of success with buyers right now. There's multiple offer situations. There's you know, no inventory. Well, what I would encourage you to do, a lot of offices that have had me on have you know, started a thread in their Facebook group saying, okay, who's having success with buyers right now? What are you doing to get your buyers' offers accepted? Or you know, who can share their last buyer success story? You can share other people's success stories within your own brokerage. They don't have to be your own success stories. But the reason why I'm suggesting that you revise your social media plan to focus on the success that you have with buyers is because marketing is most effective when it solves a problem. All right, the most effective marketing solves a problem. And so what is the problem that we're experiencing right now? Same thing you guys are experiencing: low inventory, buyers taking forever to find a home, buyers getting outbid by other buyers, right? Those are all things that consumers in your market are well aware of. You know, meaning, let's just say a buyer of yours went to dinner last night with their friends or their family. Chances are they told them about their experience. Oh my God, we can't get anything accepted, or it's taking forever, or the inventory is low, and this and that. And so what's happening is there tends to be a buzz around, okay, it sounds like nobody can get their offers accepted. It sounds like this is an issue in the market. So next thing you know, you have promotions that you're putting out there of success stories that you're having, and people are seeing these and they're screenshotting them and they're sending them to their friends and family who is complaining about the problem. So moving forward for the third quarter, I want you to focus on your success with buyers in 3 areas. And I actually have some real life examples I'm going to share with you. Your success with buyers in 3 areas. Number 1, I want you to focus on your success with buyers in terms of how quickly you were able to secure their home, how quickly you were able to get them into a home. All right, why is that? Well, because the problem is people are saying it's taking forever to find a house. So I'm going to show you a few examples. So that's number 1. Okay, now here's an example. Now this, you can make something like this in Designs and Command or Canva, whatever you prefer to use. But you see that right there, dead smack in the center. Buyer found her dream home in less than 30 days. Buyer found her dream home in less than 30 days. Oh, by the way, what does it say down there? Competed with multiple offers. Competed and beat out a cash offer. All right, so we're going to talk about that in a second, but you want, anytime you can secure a home in 30 days or less for a buyer, that's worth bragging about. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, I want you to promote anytime you can save your buyer money. All right. So let me give you another example. Anytime you can save your buyer money. Now you might be thinking, well, how are we saving anyone money with how hot the market is right now? If there's an appraisal issue, you save them money. If there's an inspection issue, you save them money, right? There's things that happen during a transaction where you end up saving the buyer's money. Maybe they were willing to let the seller stay in the home and are being paid rent, whatever. You're saving them money in a lot of cases. So anytime you can get even a couple $1,000s off the asking price, look at this. It gives you a reason to promote it. Here's another example. Just sold. Save my buyer $12,900. Okay, these are actual examples. Just sold. Save my buyer $12,900. You better believe you post one of these a week or one of these every couple weeks, people are going to see it. It's going to get attention. Someone's going to screenshot it and send it to their friends who are complaining about overpaying and overbidding on houses. The third thing that I believe is worth promoting and that we're seeing success with is whenever you win in multiple offer situations. So here's another example. Beat out 7 other offers. All right. Whenever you can show the success that you're having in multiple offer situations, it's going to cause buyers or referrals of buyers to reach out to you and say, hey, you ought to call, Betty Lou. They've been looking forever and they can't find anything. So point number 1 is I want you to revise your social media strategy to point out the success that you're having with buyers. You'll get more results if you do that. And point number two, create a neighborhood Facebook group. Create a neighborhood Facebook group. We'll talk about that in a second. Create a neighborhood Facebook group. So one of the things that our agents are having success with right now is getting business from Facebook groups. And one of the reasons why Facebook groups are so are proven to be successful is one word: notifications. All right. So on Facebook, it's one of the only things you can do where everyone gets a notification. On Facebook, it's one of the only things that you can do where everyone gets something pinging their phone saying you just posted something in the group. So what better way to do it than start a neighborhood Facebook group? Now you might be saying, well, there's already a neighborhood Facebook group in my neighborhood. All right, well, that's okay. You can create a second one, and I'll talk about that in a second. We have several agents that have created their own neighborhood Facebook groups. I'm going to show you an example of a postcard in a minute, but I'll take one of our agents. Her name's Taylor. She's got a neighborhood of probably 600 or 700 people. Since she started her Facebook group, she's got over 100 people in that group. How did she get the word out? Very simple. We created a simple 5x7 postcard. Now this is 8.5 by 11, but I blew it up for this. We created a simple 5x7 postcard that's non-branded. It doesn't say anything about who you are, what you do, what your phone number is, that you're in real estate or anything. It doesn't have anything about you on it. It just says join the Highland Lakes Facebook group on the front, and on the back, join for news in the neighborhood, recommendations, community meetups, questions, answers, and more. And then it tells them where to search on Facebook. Simple postcard. Okay, this postcard got 100 people to join a group. Now, of course, since she's been working on our Facebook group, she's been encouraging people to invite their neighbors. Hey, when you see the neighbors, if they're not in the group, make sure they join us in the group. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. And then once you have people in the group, you're not being spammy, you're not being salesy, you're not doing promotions. All right, you're simply getting interaction. Talking about who the best contractors are, looking for a new snow removal company, whatever. You can come up with different topics and things that neighbors like to talk about. When the next meetup is. If you live in a neighborhood where a group like this already exists, then what I recommend you do is you create a second one. And this one could be a niche Facebook group. So for instance, one of our agents lives across the street from a golf course. And so he created a neighborhood Facebook group targeted at golfers, right? So similar postcard, but just made it look more golf friendly. And now saying, hey, join the name of the neighborhood is Mill River. Join the Mill River Golfers group. And now all of a sudden you've got all the golfers in the neighborhood, people looking for a fourth, organizing golf, forming these deep relationships. And next thing you know, our agent is going to be in relationship with people that he would have never been in relationship with before. All right, so think about how you can be creative. One of our agents created a moms group. So a Facebook group already existed. So she lives in a neighborhood called Northville Ridge. So she just created Northville Ridge Moms. Pretty simple. Sent out a moms looking postcard, and next thing you know, you've got a moms group going in the neighborhood. Create a neighborhood Facebook group, add value, and people will repay you. Number 3, identify 1 or 2 new scripts that you need to learn for the second half of the year. Identify 1 or 2 new scripts that you need to learn for the second half of the year. I mean, it could be something as simple as a for sale by owner and expired script, or something maybe a little bit more complicated, like something that we're doing now. Now that consumers are comfortable with Zoom and FaceTime, we're actually doing the pre-qual, the seller pre-qual via Zoom. So we're essentially saying, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, hey, we look forward to meeting with you tonight, or we look forward to meeting with you tomorrow, or whatever, we look forward to meeting with them. And in order for us to be better prepared for the appointment, so I can give you a more accurate price analysis, would it be okay if we spent 10 minutes going through a Zoom and getting an idea what your home is worth? Would you mind walking me through your house real quick? Trust me when I tell you, if they agree to that, you're going to have a higher level of rapport than the other agents they're meeting with. You're also going to have a better chance of getting the price right and being better prepared for that appointment. So consider doing your pre-qual, the questions that you would ask, and by the way, same thing with buyers. The buyers don't want to agree to a buyer consultation. Perfect. Let's hop on a Zoom right now, and so I can understand exactly what you're looking for and make sure we can put a plan together to help you out. Anytime you can do anything face-to-face, it's going to be more effective than over the phone. By the way, if you want a copy of any of our scripts, you can text the word scripts to 33777. If you just text the word scripts, plural, to 33777. When they first told me about that number, I'm like, okay, that's only 5 digits. How does that work? Well, apparently the phones know what to do. So it's 33777, just as if you were texting a friend. And in the body, you put the word scripts, SCRIPTS, and it'll give you a prompt, and you'll have access to all of our scripts. Okay, so point number 3, identify 1 or 2 scripts that you need to master. Point number 4, recreate or update your value proposition to your database for this summer. Thank you. Recreate your value proposition to your database for this summer. All right, now think about this. At the beginning of the year, all right, if you take Gary Keller's advice, you probably put together a plan that added some value to your database. And at the beginning of the year, you probably wrote out some things you were going to do to add value to that group. Well, chances are, because of COVID, some things have changed. Maybe you're behind on that plan. Maybe you were planning on doing a happy hour at a bar and you couldn't do it, or maybe you were going to do something in the spring and you weren't able to. Put together something of value to, you know, you could do, I mean, every state is different, but maybe you could do an outside event instead of an indoor event, right? Think of ways you can add value to that group post-COVID, if you will, so that way there's a better chance that they're going to remember you when it comes time to refer you to their family and friends. Update your value proposition to your database this summer is point number 4. Number 5, now more than ever, reviews are going to be more important. Why are reviews going to be more important? Because of COVID. Consumers are very apprehensive of who they're going to allow into their home. So guess what? They're going to be relying on reviews even further than they were before. So I'm recommending that you spend some time in the third quarter figuring out how you can increase your online reviews from consumers. I'll give you a tip. We send our clients to dinner to a restaurant of their choice, you know, $50, $75. We send them to dinner for reviewing us in 5 different places. All right, so we ask them to review us on Google. We ask them to review us on Facebook. We ask them to review us on Zillow. We ask them to review us on Realtor.com. And we ask them to review us on HomeLight. So we identify 5 areas where we want them to review their experience. And in exchange for that, we send them a $75 gift card to a restaurant of their choice. We have over 1,000 reviews on Zillow using that method alone. Now, obviously, you have to have a lot of sales in order to reach out to people, but as time, don't think, you know, hey, Jeff, I only got, you know, I've only sold like 10 homes or I'm brand new. Hey, we had to start somewhere too. That's okay. but I want you to put more emphasis on your online reviews. Even if you just make it part of your buyer or seller checklist, and it's something you do at closing, after closing, something. I want you to put more emphasis on that versus just an email that goes out after the closing. Number 6, now is an opportunity, if you haven't yet, to update your listing and buyer presentations. So, prior to COVID, you had your listing and buyer presentations. Maybe things changed during COVID, and maybe now the regulations are a little looser in your state. When is the last time you updated your buyer or seller presentation? Now, I have a couple of ours right here, so I'll just give you a small example. And this isn't a big one. Most of you probably have done something like this already. But like, for instance, okay, this is our buyer one. On the back here, it says, recommendations for viewing homes post-COVID. And then it talks about our recommendations for viewing homes post-COVID. And it just so happens to be across the page showing the work we did for nurses in the community and how we brought them lunch and all this other stuff. So I would take this opportunity to update your buyer and seller presentations and make sure everything is current and relevant post-COVID. All right. Next, number 7. This is an opportunity to rewrite your morning routine. All right, so rewriting your morning routine, because school's out, your routine was different during COVID, your routine was different, after, whatever, depending on what state of COVID you're in, I guess you could say. Our routines have changed drastically over the last 4 or 5 months. So when is the last time you wrote out your new routine? If you followed any of my stuff before, you've probably heard me say, own the morning, win the day, right? If you master the morning, everything else will fall into place. So when is the last time you rewrote your morning routine? And here's a little tip. This is my rule on the morning schedule. Everything happens at the same time every morning, period. Okay. What you do at 8 a.m. is the same thing on 8 a.m. on Monday, 8 a.m. on Tuesday, 8 a.m. on Wednesday, 8 a.m. on Thursday, 8 a.m. on Friday. Never changes. 9 a.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 9:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What you do during those times does not change. Okay. So what does that mean? That means no closings, no inspections, no client meetings in the morning. Everything in the morning is supposed to be designed around lead generation and lead follow-up, what we like to call income producing activities. When is the last time you rewrote your morning routine? Now would be a perfect time to do it, because guess what? Tomorrow we start quarter 3. Tomorrow is July the 1st. Third quarter starts. Perfect opportunity to rewrite that schedule. Number 8, I wrote down, utilize video now more than ever. Now, some of you probably said, oh yeah, Jeff, people have been saying that for years. Well, let me put a little asterisk by that. Utilize Facebook Live video now more than ever. Facebook Live. Yep, I know agents I hear it all the time. Oh man, I tried that a couple weeks ago and it was a little embarrassing. I only had like 3 people watching. I didn't like the way I looked, whatever. Listen, at the end of the day, if you go back and rewatch that video, I promise you have a lot more than 3 views. People are a little immune to watching Facebook Live because they don't want to be called on. They don't want to pretend. They don't want people to think they're nosy. So what do? They go back and watch it later. All right. So reason why Facebook Live is successful, one word, notifications. All right. Every time you go live on Facebook, all of your Facebook friends get notified of that. And when they get notified of that, that lives in their notifications for 24 hours. All right. So go live on Facebook once or twice a week. That's what I recommend. Taking a new listing, you go live. Just sold a house, you go live. Leaving a walkthrough, you go live. Market data comes out, you go live. Any chance you get to go live at least once or twice a week, do so that way all of your friends on Facebook get notified. Speaking of your friends on Facebook, Facebook allows you to have up to 5,000 friends. I encourage you to take advantage of that because Facebook really is a database. All right, every agent should have 3 databases. Ready? You have your command or CRM database, KW Command or CRM or whatever CRM it is you use. You have your past client and sphere of influence database, which has been around for years and years. And then your third database is your Facebook circle. So every single person you're friends with on Facebook, you need to look at them as part of your database, which means if you want more people on Facebook to buy and sell homes with you, you need to stop adding local realtors. Last time I checked, a local realtor is probably not going to list their house with you, and they're probably not going to use you to buy a house. So unless your job is to recruit or managing or leading a team, then you shouldn't be adding your local real estate agents. Out-of-state real estate agents for referrals, fine. But local real estate agents, no. Why? Because they take up space. I want consumers who are in a different industry. You only get 5,000 friends. There's going to be a point in your day, a year or 2 or 3 years from now, when you have 5,000 friends and you're regretting having all these real estate agent friends. Okay, that's number 8. Number 9, take this opportunity to identify one area of weakness and ask for accountability. Take this opportunity to identify one area of weakness and ask for accountability. In other words, this is an opportunity to step up your accountability plan. Something is lacking, whether it's your income, whether it's your listings, whether it's your sales, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your health. Identify one thing when you look back at the first half of the year, because guess what? At midnight tonight, the first half of the year is over. First half of the year is behind us at midnight tonight. That means at 12:01 this coming morning, all right, we're starting quarter 3. And in quarter 3, guess what happens? You have an opportunity to rewrite your story for the second half of the year. So identify one thing that you're looking for more accountability around. Okay, for me, for a long time, it was just getting to the office earlier. Number 10, and by the way, I'd write a check. I'd find an agent in the office and I'd write him a check and say, hey, if I'm ever in later than 7:30, you have my permission to cash this check. That worked for me. Money talks. All right, number 10. Do a better job of telling a story on Facebook. So I wrote down, tell more stories on Facebook. All right, I'll give you a couple examples. So earlier, we talked about revising your social media plan. Well, and I held up all those images of things that you should be promoting when it comes to your success with buyers. Well, above those images, we had post, right? So the agents created some language. When you're writing a Facebook post, I want you to start thinking of it as copy. All right, and if you're familiar with the advertising industry, copy is the words, the sentences, the descriptions they use to describe the advertisement. Copy is if you're doing a radio ad, when you read a radio ad, you're reading your copy. So I want you to think of the stuff that goes above your cool image as copy. All right, here's another example, okay? Buyer saved $19,000 on their purchase. But more important than that is this, ready? This is how you tell a story on Facebook. This is an agent of ours that was not having good success on Facebook, quite honestly, didn't care about Facebook. And we convinced her to start being more active on Facebook, and she is loving the referrals she's getting because of the success she's having with this. So watch this. This is how you tell a story. Congratulations to my client Keyshawn and his family on their first home purchase. They found the perfect home in Novi. Keyshawn, his sister, and his parents have been considering a home purchase for some time now. They travel frequently, so we had to fit home searching in with their busy travel and work schedules. We found what they were looking for in the Knightsbridge Gates community. The location and amenities were perfect for their family. The more you can tell a story, the more likely you're going to get engagement. And engagement leads to impressions. And impressions leads to referrals. Let me give you another example. This one was one of our agents. His name's Rich. Okay. He had the one where I showed earlier, the beat out 7 offers. Anytime you win in a multiple offer situation, you better be telling the world about it. His Facebook post says, have you ever heard of the old adage, I'd do anything for family? Well, Tim Niehazel and I went out and found the perfect home for him after looking for only 2 weekends. By the way, point out 2 weekends, time saved right there. Here's where things got dicey. 7 other people believe this is the perfect home for them too. This makes for an interesting situation, as you can imagine. Well, as the old adage goes, we made it happen. Congrats, big little bro. This was a family member. Now, again, that type of copy with an image like this is creating a ton of engagement. I mean, he got like 20 some comments, people congratulating him, all this, and 50 plus likes. Why? Not because your image looks cool. Facebook doesn't care how cool your image looks anymore. It's how well the story is written. Think about that next time you go to write your next Facebook post. I promise you'll notice a difference in your engagement. Number 11, put together a post-COVID business plan. Put together a post-COVID business plan or a second half of the year plan. All right, I was talking to a state just a couple of days ago. They said, Well, Jeff, COVID's coming back here, so I don't know if it's post-COVID. Yeah, I understand that there's spikes going on in certain parts of the country. Fine, don't call it a post-COVID plan. Just call it a second half of the year plan. All right, put together a post-COVID plan. I shared ours with the internet. If you want it, it's free. You can go find it. You go to gloveru.com/plan. gloveru.com/plan. That is the exact plan I shared with our team. And I also put out a 45-minute instructional video to go along with it. So feel free to search that. If you just search on Google, Glover U business plan, you should be able to find it. Or Glover U post-COVID business plan, you'll find it. Or you can go to gloveru.com/plan. Finally, number 12, put together a buying power checklist. Put together a buying power checklist. What is a buying power checklist? A buying power checklist looks like this, okay? It's everything a buyer can do to get their offer accepted, okay? It's a document that you present to them during the buyer consultation or via Zoom or FaceTime, however you do them, and you're educating them on what's going on in the market and, more importantly, all the things they can do to increase the odds of getting their offer accepted. Now, you might be saying, well, Jeff, can we just have a copy of yours? My answer is going to be no, and let me tell you why. Because every market is different. You have different customs. You have different ways of doing things. What I'm going to suggest you do is this. The next time you have a team meeting, or maybe in your company Facebook group, somebody should ask the question, and we have fun with this. We call it the I've seen it all activity. The I've seen it all activity. What do we do during the I've seen it all activity? Everyone chimes in and shares one crazy thing that they've seen in an offer that got accepted either on their listing, or a crazy thing that one of their buyers did to get their offer accepted. Everyone comes to the meeting with one, or everyone chimes in on the Facebook thread if you're going to do a Facebook post, and everyone starts sharing all the things. Oh, my buyer paid $20,000 over asking. My buyer waived their inspection. My buyer gave a non-refundable EMD. Everyone's saying all these different things, and guess what? You're in the background. Obviously, hopefully you're participating too, but you're writing them all down. And guess what you created? You created a buying power checklist, a list of all the things buyers can do to get their offers accepted and increase the chance of them getting accepted. That was number 12, and that was all 12. So questions on anything that I've shared, any one of these 12s that you want me to dig deeper on, or anything I didn't cover that you have questions on? Not all at once.
For now, I just want to say thank you so much for presenting this. This is spectacular.
Yeah.
I did have one quick question on the Create a Neighborhood Facebook group. I'm wondering if you could hold up the backside of that flyer again. I just wanted to take a quick look at that. Yep. Yeah. News in the neighborhood, recommendations, community meetups. Perfect. I love that idea. I just think that is so killer.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 agents on our team that have done this and are having great success with getting people in the group and getting engagement going. And next thing you know, they're going to own the Facebook group. Now, you don't want to be salesy. You know, I told them don't ever post more than once per month about business. If you want to share the new listings and sales in the neighborhood, don't do it every time there's a new one. Just say, hey, you know, it's let's say July 15th. Hey guys, here's everything that's happened in our neighborhood in the month of June. One time a month max. Otherwise, people will start to think that you created it just for the purpose of selling them your services.
Right. Hey, Jeff, another thing. Would you mind touching on what your value proposition is for your team? I'm sure there's agents that call. My name is Matt Brown, by the way. I'm the PC here. There's probably agents that call that haven't, maybe they haven't created their value proposition yet, are uncertain how to go about that. Yeah. Any tips on that?
Our value proposition to our team or our database?
To your database, to potential clients.
Yep. So we have a formula. You know, I know there's probably 3 dozen formulas out there. You know, we have a formula we follow. It's called the 4x2x1x12. 4x2x1x12. And this has worked pretty well for us over the last 4 years. And I'll share with you what that is. So the 4 stands for 4 pieces of physical mail per year. They get 4 pieces of physical mail per year. The 2, 4x2, they get 2 phone calls where we don't ask for business. Okay, one of the calls we're inviting them to a client event. The other call we're wishing them a happy Thanksgiving and thanking them for their business. So 4 pieces of U.S. mail, two phone calls, 4x2x1, one client event. Of course, if you haven't had a chance to do one yet, you got to think outside the box of how you're going to do one. A lot of these I did when we were in the middle, when we were in deep into shelter in place. A lot of people were doing digital events, digital happy hours. I mean, I had agents sending, people favorite cocktails, and then they're having a Zoom happy hour while everyone was drinking their cocktail. So one client event and 12 infotaining emails. So one per month, one infotaining. What is infotaining? Information that's entertaining. So not just a boilerplate, set your clocks back, or here's 10 ways to carve pumpkins. I mean, you really got to find interesting content. Think of yourself almost to some degree a little bit like an editor or publisher of a magazine, stuff that people are going to want to read. So an email that people are going to want to open.
Got it. Perfect.
2x2x1x12. We do all that in a year. And by the way, that's not super robust. That's not complicated to do.
Just a matter of sitting down and putting it together and just
That's
doing
right.
it. Yeah.
You have to plan it out every year. And we know, when our event's going to be, what the mailing is going to be, and when it goes out. Yes, you don't. It's not something you do on a whim. It's planned out, for the whole year by the end of the year.
Got it. Now, if anyone else has questions, jump in. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going here. I got another one here.
Sure.
Reviews. When are you primarily instructing your agents to ask for reviews? For example, anytime there's a happiness in the transaction and a transaction. Okay.
Yep. So there's three ways we ask for reviews. Ready? Number one, we ask our associates to plant the seed at closing. So now with our team, we have a staff person that calls the client. So if you're a solo agent or you don't have an assistant yet, this is going to have to be you. But we have the agent plants the seed at closing. The agent says, hey, you're going to be getting a call from our office, and they're going to ask you about your experience. If you wouldn't mind, please return their call. And if you have nice things to say, tell them. If you don't have nice things to say, just don't return their call. Cool? Right? So just kind of like a little silly thing at closing. And then within 7 days, they're going to get a call from our office, and our office is going to do really just a 3-question survey. The number one question they ask is on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being, off the charts, 1 being the worst ever. How would you rate your experience? And if they say a 7 or above, then our staff person gives them the instructions on how to review us online and tells them about our 5-star program. If it's 6 or below, then they ask for an opportunity to make it right and what we can do better and so forth. But we don't tell them about the review program. And then if we don't have a review from them on the 30th day from closing, so that call, by the way, happens 7 days after closing. And then the 30th day from closing, they get an email from us. We call it the file closeout email. And it just says, hey, hope you enjoyed your first month in your home. Hope things are going well. If there's anything you need, you know where to find us. And oh, by the way, we're just trying to close out your file now that it's been 30 days. And the last remaining item is a review. If you wouldn't mind going on and reviewing us and da-da-da-da-da. So we make it almost feel like, it's kind of like it's holding us up a little bit from closing out the file.
Gotcha.
Questions on anything else, anything that we talked about, or anything we didn't cover?
This is Tracy. I'm wondering if you use Nextdoor or LinkedIn.
Great question. So some of our agents use Nextdoor, but they're reporting better success using neighborhood Facebook groups. So I don't personally have experience with Nextdoor. I can just tell you from my experience with neighborhood Facebook groups and talking to my agents, they're having more success with that than Nextdoor. And by the way, they're not getting rid of Nextdoor. They're just using both.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question.
Hey, Jeff, another one. When you're talking about putting together a post-COVID business plan, are you describing the GPS or the 135? Are you guys using that to put that together, or how are you doing that?
We kind of created our own, which I shared with the group. But yeah, it's a variation of that.
Okay.
Ours is a little bit more specific, given now that there's ways of doing business differently. So like, for instance, one of the questions is, list the 5 things you're going to do to add value to your database, post-COVID, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, anyone can get access to it. It's at gloveru.com/plan. It's the exact same plan that we shared with our team. But yeah, it's similar to a 135.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you for having me on, guys. I would say the number one place, if you want additional resources, because I know I named off a lot of things for scripts, for the business plan, for this, the number one place you can go if you want additional resources would be our Facebook group, which is called the Glover U Inner Circle. It's free to join. Anytime I come up with a new system or a new script or anything that I can add value, we put it in there first. So if you just search Glover U Inner Circle on Facebook, ask to be entered in, and you'll get led into that group. That would be the
Awesome.
one place for resources.
Jeff, thank you so much. Really
You bet.
appreciate your time, and it was extremely helpful. So thank you.
Absolutely. Let's kick butt in the third quarter. It starts in just a few hours, believe it or not.
Woo!
All right.
Jeff.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
Sure.